The S-hook. A beautiful marriage of form and function. Its shape is so graceful, gently curving up and over at one end, showing no sign of stress or effort. It turns so the opposite end curves over and down. Given the proper size, you can hang almost anything, almost anywhere. I don't know if I collect them or just accumulate them, but I have steel ones, wooden ones, plastic ones, large, small, and medium. One shaped like a long-limbed frog. Several that are under an inch in length, one that is 3 feet from its top curve to the bottom. Like someone helping a friend climb a steep cliff, an S-hook reaches up for a firm hold and reaches down to offer a hand up. With a bit of sturdy wire, if the need arises, you can make one yourself.
Oh, you need
Pretty good to guess that.
Ready.
My life as a leaf. In early spring, I felt myself expanding to a chorus of jubilant birdsong. I was so tiny, a mere bud. I grew and unfolded slowly and tenderly. At times during the summer, various beings nibbled on me. I loved flying in the breeze, but I held tight until autumn when I changed from green to red. Red was fun. I danced a lot. As weather cooled, I thought, how much longer can I last? Then came the fall and the shock of landing on the ground with many others. What is next, I wonder?
Very nice. Very nice. I wonder that too. What's that?
That's like yours, unless.
Kathy, I love that line.
Well, some boys just gonna have to.
Red was fun, I
Yes.
guess.
The last line of the first stanza, I wondered about tenderly. You unfolding tenderly. I came to mind tentatively. I suggest that as an alternative, whether you like it or not. Slowly and tentatively.
Well, that's big, yeah. But I was thinking of how tender the new leaves are.
Uh-huh.
They're crisp. I mean,
True.
crisp, they're just
Maybe you
really
could say tender, I unfolded slowly.
tender. I unfolded slowly.
Being tender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Okay.
Let me just say, the last time everybody, the last 2 weeks ago, I intended to be here, but the weekend before, my bonus went out, so on the day that you all
Has it
were
come back
meeting.
yet?
Yes, it has, the $3,600 has come back. But while I was sitting captive in my house, I got a telemarketing call. So this is
You answer your phone.
the call. The landline phone rings and rings. The first clue this song sings. Hello, Mrs. Bradford? Yes. I'm calling about your assets in Fairfield County. She wants to protect my bounty. What are you selling? Hesitation. Oh, nothing. Just offering you some information. And what will I do with the knowledge you provide? Someone will come visit you and sit by your side. And when they come to sit by me, what will the outcome be? Oh, you can decide, if wanted, how to keep your stuff from probate and not get hunted. And this info is free? No, it has a fee. Tell me again what you are not selling. I am not selling. You seem to be yelling. Thank you for the call. It's been a while.
You're so much nicer than that. And you actually answer your phone. Wow.
So this one is, I kind of started playing around with this, and it's probably, when it says street scenes, it's probably Act 1. At the crosswalk, I wait for the green light. A truck passes by with wording, "We seed the country's farmers." And there sits a man holding a sign, "We'll work for food." This was once a factory town. Those jobs are no longer around.
Oh, okay.
Everybody. Little star, my star. I first claimed the star when I was about 8, standing in my grandmother's chicken yard just before nightfall. It was not impressive, clean looking, maybe 15 degrees above the horizon, 8 degrees port of true south, white, clear light, nothing at all like Venus who claimed the starboard sky on this summer night. For years I looked for my star, always finding it where it was supposed to be. I called it Little Star, my star, you. Time would take me on long nighttime walks when I kept my star in sight. Last night before bed I walked out to view the sky, a clear night. My star was gone. Had the power of the light beam run out? How many eons ago had my star, Maestro Eater, fizzled into nothingness? Had I for years watched only nothingness in the sky, or has man-made smog created a barrier between it and me? Funny how Funny how for a lifetime of living, being in many places, always 8 degrees port of true south, my star always gave me something to think about. When a light bulb breaks, it makes a pop, the sound of the shattered vacuum. When the last light of my star reached Earth, did only the moles hear the sound? Is that why they live underground?
Is it real?
It's a mystery.
Is it real? This was
Did it
real.
go away, really?
I mean,
Or
what
was
happened?
it cloudy? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's underground. We dug it up one day, right?
Oh,
It's a poem.
It's a form.
okay. Oh,
It's
you
what
can
it
see
is.
it.
I love the sound of your voice. The
Well, I'm
cadence
pretty
of
hoarse
your
today for
voice.
some reason.
But, just,
I've got a whiskey tenor
I like that sound.
or a smoking baritone, one or the other. Yeah, it was, just sat down at the typewriter and wrote it.
Very wonderful.
I like when a light bulb breaks, it makes a pop.
Pop.
You know, it's a little thing that
Lets you know.
you
it's
don't
good.
notice, but when somebody says it, then you say, that's right.
I'm glad you like it.
Do the new ones make a pop? The new.
They never
Like-
They go
break, so they never
They
never
go
wear out.
We're not allowed to let it break.
Us
I mean, that's just-
Everything's fine. Very nice, Joy.
Yeah.
Good.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star with elegance.
It does really sound as if, as a child, you experienced this.
Well,
The
good.
way you've written it, it sounds like it's a memory.
I was in the mulberry tree.
So it is more or less true, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I made it up.
Okay.
We want
I
to
thought it
lie.
was.
The only problem I had with it, when you're talking about when you were a child, and then you speak of it as being 15 degrees above the horizon, 8 degrees port of true south, and that doesn't sound like a way a child would
Well, I
locate.
was waiting for somebody to ask me. When I was a kid, my grandfather had been a navigator, and he taught me about stars.
Okay.
Oh, you should put that in. That's good.
Maybe that's another
I'm
point.
saving that for
Now, Margaret, you said you did not bring a poem, right?
I just came to
Okay.
see.
Ruth, you're up.
Well, as you can see, anything goes.
I'm learning a lot, very quickly.
Oops. Here, I'll send some in each direction.
Did you keep one
This
for
is what I
yourself?
always look for.
Because I know we sent all of mine.
Didn't need the ending.
Okay,
I think it's a nice poem without that last stanza.
okay.
Yeah, you could use the, could make a whole new poem for that. It stands all by itself.
Yeah.
Sure, no problem.
Are we rushing for any particular reason?
It's just that we
We have a
had a
There's so
lot of
many of
people
us,
to
okay.
Sven and I were talking this morning about the poem, and I said I'd thought of it for a couple of days, but hadn't figured out a way to end it. But then I did, and I wanted him to tell me whether I needed what the last stanza or not. Okay.
Well, the sun's out. Sorry.
The man who dared to be happy. In the worst of his addictions, when day was night and he was blind, he still saw him, that young boy climbing the stairs to the gritty board, bouncing up, his youthful body buoyant, light, in control, his muscled torso tight, as arms lifted gracefully up, his legs bent to spring, arching through the air, slicing into the cool lake water that called him home, to that amniotic sac of his origins, happy and carefree as a man ever dared to be. It gave him hope, the sight of that boy, reappearing like a ghost, silent, his every move joyful, sure, a spirit so inviting it could not disappear. Stronger than the drugs that held him in that Hades of windowless rooms until he quit them the very last time and dove again into the waters of his life, that boy finally free.
Yay. Very encouraging.
Yeah.
I would remove the comma at the end of the third line.
Exactly. Yes. Bingo.
Okay.
Got editors on my right and left.
Okay.
Sit on our hands.
I'm good with that.
I was here.
Have you any?
Here.
To that end, I was happy, carefree. Okay. Take off that end after happy.
Where are we?
Let's see, about the middle of the poem, to that amniotic sac of
Okay.
his origins,
Yeah,
happy.
that's good.
I just felt that the and, this carefree is not in keeping,
Yeah.
doesn't seem to me to be in keeping.
Get rid of what?
So you're taking out the word carefree?
No,
And. And.
Happy carefree.
Happy, comma.
That's a man.
Happy, comma.
Carefree, that's a man.
Happy.
No, this is the same.
No.
No,
I'll leave it in.
I would be inclined to leave the and
Okay,
in.
then I don't think I put it there.
Did you have a particular inspiration for this?
A conversation with someone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that he was able to break an addiction because he could always imagine that young boy he used to be
Uh-huh.
who was just totally happy at one point of his life when he was a swimmer and working as a lifeguard in a particular lake in Ohio. And it was that image that sort of stayed with him. Just
And-
wouldn't shake.
And helped him out of his addiction.
Right, that, and it was more complicated, of course. Some transcendental meditation helped too. Yeah, but,
I'll give you a little background statement on marriage. This came to me last week and from a relative who called, and this relative was in need. I checked to see if the spouse was there, and he was. To my surprise, because part of the time he's not. He's not permitted to be there. So, and he has an addiction, so when he's submitted to the addiction, he is expelled from the house. And so that made me think about marriage. And originally I was thinking I should write something for them. And then I'm saying to myself, no, I should write it for Mary, myself, and them. And now it has been revised for whoever. So that's and I emailed it to the caller, but I have not received a reply, so I'm not too sure that it was well received.
The no reply
When did
may
you
be the
send it?
reply.
Exactly.
When did you send it? I mean,
Oh, it was about 4 days ago. And I even called up and said, did you receive? And no answer there either. So I'm not too sure that this was the right message, but okay. It's marriage for you and marriage for us. Avoid litigation. Litigate not. Don't be a fool. Stay cool. Don't get hot. Sit down. Don't frown. Sit down on the pot. That's where the shit goes, not on the other's clothes or nose. It's a gross beginning. But I thought it would either attract your attention or repel you to just ignore the rest. Arbitrate, arbitrate, arbitrate. Don't hesitate, don't hesitate before it becomes too late. Arbitrate to reopen the gate through which you and we can again relate. Like on those earlier dates that brought us together to become mates. Celebrate our children and our grandchildren. Celebrate where you and we've been. Celebrate what we're accomplishing and soon to become. Together again as one. With life together again with love and fun. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Celebrate each other's birthdays before it's too late. Celebrate our marriage before it's too late. Celebrate our love before it's too late. Celebrate now with our mate. Delegate, delegate, delegate stuff that makes us raw, stuff that makes our relationship stall. Delegate until there is time when each of us are feeling fine to take on the rough stuff that makes us fall. Meditate, meditate, meditate on those battles that bring cantankerous heck and on those routes that end in a horrendous wreck. Take time to reflect on both the bad and the good. That's really what you and we should reflect, both on the bad and the good. Negotiate, 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 work it out. Don't just stalk and pout. Talk it out without a doubt. Talk it out, work it out, negotiate until we can again relate, like on an earlier late night date. So arbitrate, celebrate, delegate, meditate, negotiate with our mate until we again stand tall, where we don't need a restraining stall, where we only need a gate through which we can pass to our mate, again united with feelings for each other that are great.
Aww, that's nice.
That is neat.
Yeah. Yay.
The repetition helps, I think.
Yeah, actually. But then the third stanza is the only one, other than the beginning, that doesn't have 3 words.
Yes.
The repetition. in the
Well,
first
yeah,
line.
because then in the
Yes.
very last one,
You do 4.
they're in the same order, arbitrate, so as each one of the stanzas that has the 3 words.
Yes.
So was that conscious? Or?
Well, the third and fourth are both about celebrate, and I didn't want to kill. To celebrate, overkill it with the repetition, so that's how it came about.
You could
But-
take the first line of the 4th stanza and put it on the 3rd stanza, sort of.
Oh,
put
okay,
those stanzas
okay,
together.
okay,
You may need
Yes.
to take a little bit of out
Yeah,
of them.
so-
okay.
yeah, I think
That's a thought,
that
just
would make it.
combine
Yeah.
them.
And
That's
then-
what I
Okay,
thought.
I got it.
That's a good idea.
And the bottom, the last stanza is in the same order, which is kind of a nice,
You know, ties it all
It
together.
Conclusion.
Sums it up, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And in the 3rd stanza, the second line, celebrate where you and we've been. I think you have to say you've been and we've been.
Oh.
But because
Yes.
or we.
it's not parallel. And you
Just-
must have parallels
Yeah,
of
you
this.
don't say where you've been. That's-
Well, how about we've all been? We've all been.
Oh,
You know, just
Yeah, that,
We've all been. I
but
would
it's
solve
just
it.
this particular structure.
Yeah, that's bad grammar.
Patricia's gonna get to the second line in the second column
Just about now.
when each of us is feeling
Right.
fine.
Right, there you go. Good
I
point.
missed that.
In that same stanza, the fifth stanza, if you take the last line and make it the fourth line, I think it might be a little more interesting.
But then we,
Because I know that time is always time, and place is always and only place, and what is actual only for one time, and only for one place. I rejoice that things are as they are, and I renounce the blessed face, and renounce the voice, because I cannot hope to turn again. Consequently, I rejoice having to construct something upon which to rejoice, and pray to God to have mercy upon us, and pray that I may forget these matters that with myself I too much discuss, too much explain, because I do not hope to turn again. Let these words answer for what is done, not to be done again. May the judgment not be too heavy upon us, because these wings are no longer wings to fly, but merely vans to beat the air which is now thoroughly small and dry, smaller and drier than the will. Teach us to care and not to care. Teach us to sit still. Pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Pray for us now and at the hour of our death. Although I do not hope to turn again, although I do not hope to turn. Wavering between the profit and the loss, in this brief transit where the dreams cross, the dream-crossed twilight between birth and dying. Bless me, Father, though I do not wish to wish these things. From the wide window towards the granite shore, the white sails still fly seaward, seaward flying, unbroken wings. Suffer me not to be separated, and let my cry come unto thee.
it does have a prayer-like quality to it, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. I wish I could have given you all 22 pages because it had a lot of imagery in it.
That's a recitation.
Yeah.
What's the history of Ash Wednesday?
Of the Ash Wednesday, it's the first day
No, of his
of
poem.
Lent. Of his poem. You know, he never
Doesn't
really...
this mark his transition to Catholicism?
I would say
Or
yes to that.
Anglicanism?
I
I've
would say
forgotten.
yes to
I've
that.
forgotten my T.S. Eliot. But isn't that,
No, that's exactly right.
that's
how
exactly
it's
what Ash
Yeah.
Wednesday
Yeah,
poem
he
is.
converted and
Right.
became very profoundly religious.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, he uses the language.
Yeah.
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 It was interesting to see how it was interspersed in his writings.
Right.
Yeah. And most of the other poets active at that time were absolutely flabbergasted.
Yes. Yeah, they were very surprised at his conversion.
What is a van? in the-
Well,
Yeah, I know. I
in
thought
the
that should be
third-
fan, but
I
that's
thought maybe vein, as in,
a weather vane.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
a fan, like a,
Fans.
but I wondered about
Deep
that
the
too.
air.
Oh, you got this off the internet?
Yeah, I got it.
Rather than out of a book. I see, okay.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to
Never
type it.
comment on anything on the internet.
It
Well,
was written in
maybe
1930, or whatever that.
you're good. Thank you.
Oh, she looked it up.
Yeah, I know.
It's on the internet.
It's
Must
nice
be
that
true,
you can
right?
get the internet here. Yeah, of course. Especially if you Google it. Now, this poem is also not mine. Last time we were here, I presented a poem.
Is this it?
It should say "My Home on the Hill."
Some the other direction, I guess.
I think that should go to your left.
It's already gone.
With some over there.
Well, these people,
Okay, whoever doesn't have.
Pass these down the line over there.
It's coming.
you guys have Home on the Hill.
Yeah. Now, I need to make a correction. When this is from a woman, for some of you that were not here, this is from a woman that I met at the hospital. I'm a chaplain there on Mondays, and we got talking about poetry, and she just, quote unquote, happened to
This is the
have.
same woman that you read
The same,
poem
yes,
from
yes,
last meeting.
yeah, this is the same woman. And the one correction is, and I was flabbergasted because I thought she had said she was in her 90s, but that was incorrect. I don't know her exact age, but she's somewheres in her 70s. And she is just thrilled that her poetry is being brought to this group. So on behalf of her, I'll say thank you. And she did give me permission to use her name. So that's at the bottom, okay? My home on and I read it to her last night to make sure that I was presenting what she wanted. And she did make one change. My home on the hill. I look back on my childhood with, oh, such a thrill. The joy of my life at my home on the hill. The fields gently rolling, the woods all around, the murmurs of evening, the whippoorwill's sound. My wandering led me to the creek through the trees, the moss-covered banks that were so magic to me. It gave me such a pleasure that touches so few. As old as the ages, to me it is new. The joy I was given, a gift only mine. I will carry it with me till the end of my time. When my days are waning, I'd love to go back to that home on the hill that is now just a shack. The chimney still stands, the roof has collapsed. It's hanging by its nails, it's breathing its last. But on in my memory, the happy times will always be with me, my home on the hill.
Titled, and the title appears on half of them.
Oh,
And,
oh, what is the title?
Mine has a title.
Mine
Yeah.
does too.
It's Letter to Israel.
Letter to Israel, okay.
What's it called?
Letter to Israel.
But it's not signed Senator Milton Plohoff down there.
Citizen.
I hesitated to involve myself in politics, but I was so amazed when I learned that the letter that the Congress had sent to Netanyahu was actually a treasonous act. In 1936, the Supreme Court ruled that any communication of this sort with a foreign government was treason, and that fell on deaf ears, except mine.
A lot of the talk shows have brought that up. And so
Well,
you're not isolated out there by yourself.
Anyhow, what do they do when treason is committed?
Well, they shoot them.
Used to that. Speaker Boehner wanted his House to know full well the issues that concern Netanyahu's Israel. So he invited Net to address the House, after which was composed a letter most sincere to fill that nation's tiny ear. Why was Obama's signature not on top? Because the treason was purely slop.
In a word.
Editorial,
And I spent
Now they're writing letters.
I spent 24 hours
Everybody's
working this over. because when you deal with Netanyahu and Israel and the Republican Congress, you have to take some time.
Why? They don't.
But because you want to be therapeutic.
We're back to counseling again.
You could use BB. I don't know, it might throw
Yeah,
off the
BB
rhythm a
was
little bit, but
my
BB is his
Yeah.
nickname
Instead of
instead
net.
of net.
BB.
Yeah, that's what.
Or you could just call him a Yahoo. I mean, that's.
BB at Yahoo.
I like net though. I think that's, it's a clearer connection if anybody didn't know BB, you know.
You know what this poem speaks to me is just the general cockiness of things.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting that the fellow that wrote it, Cotton, is a freshman senator,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he behaved in such a sophomoric manner.
Yeah.
That sort of puzzles me.
He's from Texas, right?
I'm sure glad you put Netanyahu in there.
How we managed to get so many stupid people in Congress at one time.
There are plenty going around.
Seems to be an amazing.
Well,
Everybody look for doubles. If we had, I've sent at least 15 around.
I've got one.
I've got one.
They got this
Here, I've got a number of them.
Yeah, I thought so.
We're not gonna give to you anymore.
Yeah, just give her one next time and block the rest of
It's a
them.
black hole.
Okay, now we've got a super.
So we got one extra. Anyone not lacking? Okay. Well, let's begin with beginnings.
That seems okay.
The idea here is I think in trying to understand things, we often look for its origin. You know, like what's the origin of the universe? What's the origin of this person, this writer, this whatever? And so, if we can't find the origin, I guess we have to make them up. So beginnings. Longings wax on to look into beginnings of life, beginnings of the universe, the inspiring of an artist, all the stubborn quests to explain what and how we are. What were my first sights, my first feelings? We can talk of consciousness, but that's not it. What was is what I want to know. What capacities were given? How were these characteristics passed on from parents, or from action, or walls and fences? What hurt, what helped? As I grew capable of seeing and thinking, how and why did I see the universe? Where do I store all the events that are not now in memory? All traces decay, are gone, are replaced. Are memories closer to endings than echoes of beginnings? The mud, squishy and deep after the winter thaw, holds the beginning of spring. The bulbs, the seeds, move life from forgotten to a blooming burst. And these words, they had a beginning. Where, how, and when did it start? Was it muddy?
Yes, yes, it was.
It was indeed.
And what do you do when you can't answer the question?
You make something up.
You live the mystery.
Yeah.
When is God gonna tell us about quarks?
Yeah, next week.
Just regrinding the microscopic glass, and soon they'll be able to see it.
My question is though, did you yourself answer any of these questions? Like, what were my first sights, my first feelings? Did you think about
The
what
presumption
they were?
is, I don't know. I would like to know that, but I don't.
Do you have a dim memory of
No.
anything from early times?
No.
What's your earliest memory?
Yeah.
I kind of don't like the word muddy at the end.
Mhm.
Maybe
That was an afterthought. We could safely strike that from it.
Well, there's another word.
It doesn't
be.
I'd say take it out, yeah.
It was definitely a typist's afterthought.
When did it start? And that's it.
Yeah, that's the end. When did it start?
Yeah. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
When did it start?
Oh.
Just take out the word muddy. Oh, where?
I think it's fun.
I don't know, my first memories are age 4 or 5, something like that.
Mine are about three. Like from the.
I was in diapers
when
when
you
the
read
dog
that one
bit
about-
me in the face.
And you remember
I remember
Aww.
that.
Wow.
Aww, that's sad.
Was it muddy?
I like that ending.
Oh,
I like that.
You like the muddy
I
ending.
like the
I
muddy.
like muddy. I like muddy.
I think 3 is about when my not too clear memory.
Well, you're so busy learning things in those first 3 years that you don't have time to remember anything.
By 5, I have a lot of memories.
Oh, I did too.
2.5.
But we have a persistent need or desire, I guess, to track back. We read biographies and so on to find out where this person came from and studying cosmology and all that sort of stuff, finding the quarks and what came before the quarks and all that stuff is
Good.
a constant motivator.
And
Go
there's
to
such,
Ancestry.com and find out what your line is.
well, and when you get a bunch of family together, a reunion kind of thing, you know, the young people always seem to like to sit around and listen to the old folks talk about how things were and all
Yep,
that.
it's their history.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shall we go on to a failed state?
Failed state is a failed effort. I've been wanting to write something about failed state for months and months and months, and so this is the end of it. And actually, writing political poems is, in the minds of many, questionable. I mean, poems should be sort of personal. And
Says who? Yeah.
the thing is, these days, politics has become so personal that there really isn't a division there any longer. It's they seem to impinge so strongly on our life in so many ways. They affect our feelings, if not our thoughts. But anyway, I've written a lot about politics, and I don't know, I'd like to stop. The other thing is I don't like preaching, and this is, I guess you can't avoid being.
Do you want to stand up and read this one?
I better leave the room.
Good commentary there.
Failed state. How does one fix a failed state where news media slough off their important role? They are thought to be a fourth estate, but are guided under corporate control. How does one fix a failed state when everyone's voice is the heart of democracy, but laws are revised by those elected to legislate so as to throw out the votes of those lacking orthodoxy? How does one fix a failed state when the little guy while down is kicked in the head, where corruption wins any policy debate, and the well-positioned always get ahead? How does one fix a failed state where money is speech and buys all access, where objections to laws, if heard, are muffled and late, and administrators are polished in their prejudicial practice? How does one fix a failed state where elections have been designed to govern fairly, but candidates fill a manipulated slate and those are excluded who think contrarily? How does one fix a failed state where pandering leaders speak of peace, where those possessing a conciliatory trait are smothered by wolves masked in fleece? How does one fix a failed state where the soldiers are flattered with hollow praise while generals are mindlessly glorified as great and politicians pander to the military in all ways? How does one fix a failed state when the American way of life is to be compliant, never agitate, while myth and ignorance are rife? How does one fix a failed state where leaders could know better but act unwise, where ignored history spells out their fate? A rescue from failing is impossible to devise. How does one fix a failed state where flowers and love are about winsome verse, where talk is of price, a discount or rebate, and to lose one's wealth is the bottom line worse? How does one fix a world of failed states where the glories of globalization are claimed to astound, and the unbalanced treaties that internationalism creates are talked to death with analyses phonily profound?
I think you can fix the failed state when you answer the question to the poem.
This was also an exercise in rhyming.
I kind of think that the good old days were terrible. I mean, was it really better before? I mean, it sounds like things are so terrible now, but maybe before they were even more terrible.
Just didn't hear about every terrible thing before
Yeah.
from all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one thing.
It's the ignorance is bliss kind of situation that we have.
Yeah, we continue making ignorant, or bad, or whatever, prejudicial decisions, even though we know better.
In the first stanza, I would put a question mark after roll, and then start a new sentence with they. How does one fix a failed state where news media slough off their important role? They are thought to be a fourth estate, but are they guided under corporate control? Another question mark.
This is the kill the messenger idea. I mean, it's not the fault of the media.
What?
I think it is the fault of the media, but we can discuss that at lunch.
Another.
Oh yeah, the media has done a bad job.
The media are us.
Right.
Anyway, that's a whole other.
The government are
Read
us.
too much with us.
We are us, and we have met the enemy.
Enemies.
Depends on which media you're talking about.
Yeah, there are lots of alternates.
Yeah. Okay.
The lips. Yay, the lips.
So, Sven, will your next poem be the answer?
Oh, good, good.
Will your next
Oh, wait a
poem be
minute, I
the
have
answers
to
to these
ask
questions?
Of course.
Jalen.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna give one to you.
Did you kiss that
There's
sheet?
tulips growing on the top of my
Let's see.
face.
I would, it would have been much
To begin
easier.
anyway.
Hours to
They
get
gave
this
us just enough
finished.
photos, so they're going around.
That's why we're asking if you kissed it.
It was a good use of time. It was
I've
very
thought about
eye-catching.
that too, and I
And
don't
it, I don't
think- thought
think,
that-
it makes a great cake.
That's great.
Lips. It was Monday, which usually involves shredding. Nothing out of the ordinary. Turn the shredder on, insert no more than 3 sheets, my identity would be protected. Suddenly my ears were assaulted by the crackle of popcorn, seemingly quite near. Looking down at the shredder, I heard the popping and thought, how queer. The insides of the shredder began to hurl marbles and started to smell. Captivated, I hesitated to pull out the cord. The shredder shuddered, getting louder as it went. Then I realized that its sides were forming a protective phalange, imploding inward until no further sound emitted. A pair of fulsome black lips had appeared, slightly puckered, ready to suck all its insides in. The next Monday, I bought a new shredder.
You kissed that one off, didn't
Those are hideous things. It was the most bizarre thing I did. Like this. But anyway, I couldn't get it out of my head.
But Marianne, did black lips appear?
It looked like black lips.
Oh.
I mean, the shredder's black. What happened was it just started imploding on itself. And so by the time I got the thing stopped, it had completely locked itself up.
Yeah.
And it looked like, to me, it looked like a pair of black lips.
They do, they're like a mouth, and you feed the
Yeah,
stuff in, it's
and
like.
it's like it's gonna fight you whenever you start to put the thing.
And
Having satisfactorily
them.
swallowed
Well, what
everything.
right, swallowed
This
every.
machine has been chewing up paper.
Right.
So, but it was that
Take it out
loud.
to the.
It was that loud. It wasn't paper, and when I finally got it stopped and was not afraid to touch it, I turned it upside down and there was nothing in there to make that happen.
Yeah.
Maybe a grandkid put something in there.
There you go.
Oh my
They
God.
hadn't been here in a couple of
Licorice
months.
jelly beans.
I don't know what happened, but I've never seen.
But the smell, I mean, something
And the smell
was there.
Well, it hasn't been a good month for me. First, my vacuum cleaner went.
Oh,
Then this happened with my shredder. Then, before that, my printer stopped printing. And no
That's the worst.
a matter of
Conspiracy.
anything would make it start printing again. So I was beginning to think that I was cursed. So I decided to write something that was funny.
But I do think somebody made a comment over here about kissing it off, and I think you might consider a new title, The Kiss Off or something. Because lips is a little misleading initially, you know, but it's such a great poem.
Maybe because of the American thing.
But in a sense, it also just like sucks things up, you know, so it sort of is like lips. I mean, that sense
But
of.
we have a completely different notion of lips by themselves,
What's this
especially
we
with
stuff?
this visual. You know, this is love, you know.
That's why someone's black, but not the we stuff. You're
Right.
speaking for all of us.
Right, I know. Well, I'm just saying that in general, just the word lips conjures usually
We need to-
not the initial image of a shredder.
If we can find it, we should bring that poem next time that,
Yeah.
that
Alan
Alan
Cohen read,
read.
yeah, that was,
Yeah,
half of us here read it, I mean, heard
Right,
it.
right.
I
That's what
have a question about the third stanza up from the bottom. I don't think emitted is the right word. The sound itself,
emerged.
yeah, the machine was emitting a sound, but the sound was not emitting because it just
Emitted.
was emitted.
Was. or-
Was emitted. Yeah.
Okay,
I think active verb is better.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
think
probably-
what?
that is true.
You think what?
An active verb
voice.
emerged
Yeah,
Emerge.
rather
I'm,
than a passive.
yeah, I'm,
I read it as though the was were there.
it is not.
Was emitted.
oh, that reminds me.
But, yeah, I'm all for active voice myself.
Escaped.
Escape.
That might be, yeah, that might be good. Yeah.
Well, good.
Burped.
My machine burped.
Yeah. I didn't have any burps in this experience. It was all more like marbles
Smelled
and.
A gnashing of teeth.
I did, yeah.
Gnashing of teeth.
The word gnash, you gotta use the word.
Yeah.
That's a great word.
But then she'd have to change it from lips to teeth.
Yeah.
You don't gnash your lips.
Do you
do
have a
you?
point?
Does-
Yes.
You mash potatoes, you don't
So
mash.
I only did 12 because I didn't really have any
I could
idea
look over.
how, so.
Did you keep one for yourself?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
So the context of these short poems are in the course of going with a very close friend of mine to the hospital, and
Can we share that way?
And we could do it.
Nancy, did you put your name on this sheet?
No, I didn't. I didn't. This is my first time, so I really didn't.
Right.
My name is Robin.
Robin, R-O-B-I-N?
Yeah, and Schaefer is S-C-H-A-F-F-E-R.
S-C-H.
So just again, these are short poems. I just wrote a bunch of them when I was taking a close friend to the hospital with cancer. So this one is Trance. Stopped at a light a block from the hospital, I followed your gaze to a biker in blue. Pumping back past us, hard muscles flexed. Your body tensed, attuned to his movements. Dreams of vitality held you in thrall until a horn sounded in the street behind us.
Wow. That really captured a moment.
Good moment.
So the other one is On My Way. A February indecisive day. Black skies, sleet falling. Trading places with clear blue, sun bright enough for squinting. You were dozing, still coughing, the 2 familiar miles passing. I don't know if I'm on my way to living, you said, or on my way to dying.
Is that the same, not the same person?
Yes.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
So that
yeah, I
was
heard
the
a lot of
person
those poems.
speaking.
The first poem, dreams of vitality held you enthralled. You can say seem to have held you enthralled, but you would not be able
Okay, so
to say it
another word to say
directly.
that. Yeah.
And you have to change it to hold,
Yeah.
seem to hold you in thrall. And that same one, I would take out in the street in the last line of it, until a horn sounded behind us.
Right, behind us.
In the street is irrelevant. I mean,
It
it's
sounds like
assumed.
the next street. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
How's your friend?
Yeah.
She died some time ago, yeah.
Oh, wow.
How sad.
Did she,
She actually said this.
that was
Yeah.
the same person? Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of them. It was just sort of something that helped me to get through
Yeah.
this
I
time,
get it.
so.
That's hard.
What do you think about a comma after said on that second last line of that second poem? Who said, we're on my way to dying?
Yeah.
The title of the second poem, On Your Way.
Yeah, you're right.
What did you say about you said?
A comma after you said.
It's just a question. You know, anything here is up for grabs, and you're the writer, so you decide.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I probably wasn't paying very much attention to that. So I think that's good for me at this point to look at that and think.
Now, Patricia always makes a point of saying that dialogue or anything spoken is italics, not in quotation marks.
That's
Yeah, that's the convention.
the convention, yeah.
The standard convention, yeah, use italics.
This is a different paper.
Yeah, good paper.
It's
got
beautiful.
watermark.
Oh, yeah.
Feel to it.
Yeah.
Watermark? Wow, I haven't seen
Oh,
one of those.
I worked with beautiful.
We must look silly for that there.
Yeah, but it's upside down on the paper.
So obviously my printer didn't
What
break
percent?
because I printed it and it's not Xerox.
Right, just the
You decided to
paper
read
feels wonderful.
backwards. How does that work?
Put the paper in the other way.
Okay, well, I had the title and then I had no content, but this really is my first poem in 50 years. I wrote 2 and then threw one out. So.
Aww.
Today?
Bring it next time.
Yeah, this week, I mean, between,
If she wants
Last
to throw it
time.
out, it's her poem.
I guess. but-
well, maybe it's salvageable, I don't know, it didn't,
Bring it in, we'll tell you.
okay.
That's it. You don't throw it out, we do.
Okay, my first poem in 50 years. It has no images. Dear Wikipedia, your English version includes nearly 5 million articles, adds more than 800 new articles every day, has 76,000 contributors, equals 2,100 volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica, or 11 stacks of volumes. Each stack is twice as tall as a person. And I couldn't capture that image, but where I looked it up, there was actually a little person and then all these volumes. You perform searches for 470 million unique visitors every month. You can tell me that Nixon went to China in 1972 and his father built their family home. But you can't tell me, why did my own father vote for Nixon in 1972? How does my brother-in-law know when to do a Scrabble fold, turning in his letters and still winning? What happens to folks like my friend living in a DC adult high-rise who worries that he never interacts with children? What actor should portray Alan Goldsberry in the upcoming Billy Milligan movie? Or what should be the last line of this?
We're not going to have to wait another 50 years.
Yeah. I'm glad you got the first one out of the way. We're looking forward to the second one now.
Do you have any thoughts about who should play Alan Goldsberry?
So he was young when he defended Billy Milligan, very, very young. He was a young lawyer. And I don't know. So he was in his maybe 20s or 30s? I don't know. I've only known him since 1985. But, do you have any ideas?
Have you asked him?
No. I assume he'll be in the movie though, because how could you not have the first trial, you know, as part of the whole
This is movie
arc
though.
of the story?
You can have anything.
I think that trial is. He's probably thought about it more than I have.
I guess it's my turn.
Does everybody have?
Everybody have a copy of this? It's called The Whiteness of Snow. Two things that inspired my little effort here this morning. One is the question of, quite literally, when all the snow melts, where does the white go? And the other, more seriously, it was my reading of a favorite poem of mine, of Villanelle, the only Villanelle that Elizabeth Bishop wrote, called One Art, where she talks about losing stuff and how all of us lose stuff and that we ought to get over it. I'll read you a line or two from it, not the whole thing. It's called One Art by Elizabeth Bishop. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, accept the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. It goes on and says, however, she moves from the trivial key, lost key, to things more profound that are lost. But anyway, I love the poem, and it was in the back of my mind when I was thinking about the whiteness of snow. Where does it go? Oh no, where did they go? Oh no, I lost my car keys in the snow. Just where, I guess I'll never know. This winter brings me endless woe. I sit in my cold car and fret as AAA has not come yet. In this dead time I wait and stew and ponder other things I rue. What else got lost in my long life? My youth, fond dreams, my missing wife. I turned one day and found them gone. They left me like a startled fawn.
Oh, God bless you.
Flash flooding memories now ring, so like the melt of snow in spring. I wonder why they had to go. They vanished like the white of snow.
And the startled fawn, I'm going to see you in a new light, Felix.
Well, it's right next to the window.